Hello everyone, Mike Rempel from Another Set of Eyes with today's Excel Bytes blog post. Today we're going to take a look at array formulas, specifically using the min function with an array. I recently had a request to figure out how to evaluate a list of products and their quantities and determine what is the minimum for that selected quantity. So what we've done is we've created a table here. If we look at the table name is produce, and within produce we have a list of fruit and then the quantities associated with that fruit. And then I created a data validation drop-down with apple, orange, grape, and banana, so we can select the appropriate one. And we want this formula to return the minimum of that group. What I've done is I've highlighted here what the minimums are for each one. Apple, the minimum is 2, orange 3, grape 6, and banana 1. So as we choose the appropriate one here, banana 1, again banana 1. That matches up. The key is the fact that we created an array formula. And with an array formula, notice that you have to use Control Shift and Enter, otherwise known as CSE, not just hit the Enter function. So for example, if we just entered that formula as we have it and hit Enter, I do not get the correct answer because Excel is not properly evaluating all the list of fruits against the quantities, matching them up properly, and then determining what the minimum is of that group. But if I, instead of hitting Control Enter, I hit Control Shift Enter, now if you notice it put the curly brackets around the formula, therefore identifying it as an array formula and providing the proper result. Again, selecting any of the other fruit here, it's going to give me the appropriate one, apple and 2. Let's see how this works. If we go to the Formulas tab and look at the Evaluate Formula process, first thing it's going to do, it's underlining produce fruit, so it's going to identify what that is. I'm going to hit Evaluate, and it's basically taking that produce fruit list and breaking it down into its individual items, apple, orange, grape, banana, which is basically what's listed from cell A2 to cell A23. Next, it's going to say equals E2. Again, E2 is underlined, so that's the next thing it's going to evaluate, and that is apple. So I'm going to click Evaluate, and now notice that equals E2 now says equals apple. And now you can see it's going to take all that group, all the apples, oranges, etc., and determine what is equal to apple. So if I hit Evaluate, now it's a series of true and falses. So every place it finds apple, apple for example is the very first one, there's a true, and then false, 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 another true that matches row 6. And it goes through and marks a true everywhere that apple occurs or it matches cell E2. Next, it's going to look at the produce quantity. So I hit Evaluate, and now it converts that to the range B2 to B23. Hitting it again, it has now compared those two and identified the quantities and converted trues to the actual numbers. So I have an 8 in the very first position because I have apple 8, and then I have 2 here, which is apple 2 in row 6, 8 here, or 18 here, I'm sorry, in row 10, and on and on. So now we have minimum of those specific numbers. Hit Evaluate again. It's going to determine that the minimum is 2, and now we can close that and it's come up with the proper answer. But only because that's being done with an array formula, not just a standard formula. So anytime you're comparing ranges of arrays and want to get the proper evaluation and comparison between the two, we need to use an array formula, not just a standard formula, which is Control and Shift and Enter. And there you have it. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you appreciated it. I hope you like it. If you'd like to see more, please feel free to go to my blog, excel-bytes.com, and subscribe. Happy excelling.